Hello there people, Captain Shandy here, welcome to the channel, welcome to the video. I hope everyone's doing well. As you can see, we're going to jump straight into a session here, no fucking about beforehand, and it is in Azerbaijan. You can see we've got our new livery, which I hope you like, and we are starting in what looks to be fourth on the grid. I must admit I recorded this race a couple of days ago. As we go to 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and we are underway eventually, and we get off the line, and we have got a swarm behind us, and we get punted up the backside and have to swing it back in as we drop down to 5th place on the opening corner and almost get a little bit too tight on the inside there and take off our left wheel, but we do manage to hold everything together, and we find ourselves behind Milan and in front of 0-0. I don't know how you fucking say that, but either way, not a terrible position as the pack sort of organises itself. There's 9 of us in the lobby here at the moment taking part in this particular race. I'm pretty sure that I may not have qualified for this, hence the video started straight away. And we get up behind Milan. He's got a bad exit out of the chicane. Can we have a little look up the inside? We're not really close enough. It would be too much of a risk. So we just back out and stick behind Milan as we go into the castle sector, up the hill, through the bend, and around the right and left hander and onto the power as we hit the long sweeping left-handed bends down the back side of the track. So you may have noticed that I didn't upload a video over the weekend. There's a very good reason for that. It's because I have stuff to do at weekends, basically. I have football, I have social events, I get fucking bullied by my mother to look after my younger brothers. You know, they're like 10 and 7, not like, 21. That'd be weird. But yeah, as mentioned, I do find myself pretty busy at the weekends, and of course you've also got the sport itself that's on. I want to watch the real Grand Prix. I want to watch the big games of football, etc. that are on over the weekends. So I don't find much time for gaming, and I don't really find any time to record or edit or anything else either. So yeah, I'm more than happy to keep loading these up on a daily basis pretty much, as well as the highlights on a fairly regular basis. But yeah, the weekends, I'm afraid, do belong to me. Well, I'm not afraid, actually, I'm pretty glad. I like my life, I like the things that I do and the people that I spend time with, so it is what it is, people. But that does not mean that I do not want to give you guys plenty of more entertainment throughout the week, get you through those tough week days, whether you're bored and furloughed and looking for something to just keep you entertained, or whether you're stressed at work and just need a bit of humour to make you unwind. Hopefully I can bring you at least one of those two feelings, if not both. And yeah, hopefully we can have a good time together during the weekdays, and at the weekends I will leave you in peace. But you can see now that we're on lap 2 and we're not really making any progress towards catching Milan, and also we're not under any particular pressure from the chap behind me whose name I'm not sure how to pronounce. So we'll see what happens a little bit further on in the race as we fast forward through the next lap or so. And as the lap will go on, despite the fact that we're in fast forward mode here, you will see that I do gradually begin to reel in Milan, and that could make things a little bit more interesting as we come down onto the straight, just trying to get into the DRS zone. We are in lap 3 now as well, it's worth pointing out. So we do have the DRS, and as we come onto that straight, we'll slow it down and see how we get on using that DRS. So we are in rich mix, we've got DRS, we have used all of our ERS available to us on this lap as Milan swerves around to try and break the slipstream, and at the same time we set the fastest lap of the race. So we slow down into turn 2. We're now right on Milan's gearbox, and this could be an opportunity here if we get the DRS open. We go up into the rich mix. Which way we're going to go? We swing to the left, and to be perfectly honest, it turns into somewhat of a bit of a breeze of an overtake as we get the car slowed down and turned into the left hand, and no way for Milan to fight back. So we have popped ourselves up into 4th place in the race, so potentially thinking of a podium as we look forward to Ben Miko, who looks himself like he is starting to slow down as we get heavy on the brakes and turn right and start to approach the castle section of the racetrack and fling it into the left hand side. Maybe not quite as quick as you could do that if you're a little bit braver, but it is a high risk, moderate reward for throwing your car through there at high pace. You've got to get the speed back down anyway to take the right hander, so probably more sensible just to cruise through there and remain nice and composed without flattening your foot onto the accelerator and trying to gain some extra tenths of a second. It could just result in you gaining nothing but a flat front wing as we come onto the straight. Now, will we have DRS here? We look like we could be further than a second behind, so maybe not on this occasion. As we speed up the video again, as you can see, once again we're somewhat a little bit in no man's land. We do have Red Luigo and Milan not too far behind us, but they're battling each other, and although we begin to close the gap on Ben Miko, it doesn't look as though we're going to have the pace to catch him. Maybe if we can get into the DRS zone before the end of the lap, if we can overtake him before the end of the lap, even with DRS that seems unlikely, so we'll slow it down. We haven't got the DRS as you can see here, and we're not going to catch Ben either, but 4th from 7, not the worst result. I'm pretty sure 9 people started the race, so we will be in the top half of those that took part, which is the main thing when it comes to our driver rating. I think I mentioned in the last video that I was going to change the livery for the next couple of races, and I did actually do that, but I forgot to set it to be the multiplayer car. So for these 2 races, actually I'm talking absolute bollocks. What am I talking about? I have got the right livery for the car. That's an absolute Murray Walker moment there. You know, I could go away and cut that out, but I won't. You know, I want you guys to know I am human. I do fuck up, and I do it quite a lot, to be fair. If you think your life's a bit of a fuck up, trust me, there's some stories that I could tell you, and you know what, one day for your entertainment I may well do. As we go to the podium, didn't really see too much of any of these guys that were up in the top 3 places, apart from of course Ben towards the end. But yeah, good race from these guys. So what we'll do is we will not waste any more time. We will skip through to the next race, which will be at Monza in Italy. As we go into the settings, we will get the opportunity to qualify, so we're going to obviously pop the car up to full max speed, incredibly important around here. The tow doesn't seem quite as important as it does in real life, so I don't think, you know, even if this wasn't a one-shot qualifying, we were all separate, even in a career mode or whatever, it's not really worth making sure you're behind another car to try and get that tow. The DRS will do enough as long as you use the DRS well in accordance with it. So we go on to the qualifying lap here in Italy. As you can see, it's a little bit overcast, doesn't look all that warm, but it is dry for the time being. As we come down the straight at 210 miles per hour, getting up to 211 in the speed trap, dropping down into second gear, and we don't do too bad a job of getting through that opening chicane. It's a track that I'm ever so familiar with. Again, it's another one that seems to have come up quite a lot in the online races. I'm still waiting to do. There's still several tracks in this online version of the game, or mode of the game I should say, that I haven't been to. You know, Singapore springs to mind. I don't think I've done Monaco yet. Not entirely convinced. No, I haven't done Dubai. It's just trying to differentiate between what I did in a previous game and what I've done on this one. So, yeah, there's a lot of tracks that I haven't been to. I've done Monza a few times, I've done Belgium a few times, and Vietnam. So hoping in the future, as this week goes on, going forwards, that you know, we can get a few different tracks and have a go at a few different places. I've recently just completed my career mode race at Zandvoort after learning that track. I'd never been round it before, and that was a lot of fun. In the end, I think we finished 9th. I went through that as a bit of a Sunday night chill out session to myself as we set the fastest lap. How about that? It didn't feel too bad, have to admit, but I didn't expect it to be purple. We'll certainly take that though, and that's a good position to go into the first corner rather than the middle of the pack. I tend to find it's better to be either right at the front or right at the back. If you're somewhere in the middle, especially going into this chicane here at Monza, you know, you may as well be at a crowded concert in Manchester. Whoa, maybe that was a bit too far. Anyway, it is potentially very, very dangerous. So the fact that we're starting in first place gives us half a chance of getting out of those opening corners in one piece, which can be difficult. That's the worst part about getting hit, is obviously picking up damage, and then that makes you slow for the rest of the race unless you pop into the pits. But that rules out any chance you have of a win. So yeah, precarious. You have to be very careful through those opening 2 corners, particularly here at Italy. You don't want to get caught out and have to continue in the race handicapped in a sense. So we sit on the grid, ready for the race to start, as we just wait for everyone to connect and get onto the grid, and the countdown begins, and hopefully we will soon see the 5 red lights to get us underway. Here they are. Now we have all 5 lit and they are out, and we make our way off the start line. It's not the best start in the world. I was a little bit slow to react and bogged down slightly as well. So we're going to 0-0, whatever his name is going to get ahead of us, and we just have to slow down. We get told we collided with him. I didn't really notice anything. Maybe I just touched the back of his car on my front wing, and what the hell has happened there? This chap, Stapo, just decided he was going to take his own racing line, do his own version of the circuit. We have a big black mofo right up our arse trying to slip up the inside, and that was a sentence that I hoped I'd never say, as we fall in behind the big man and settle in as we've dropped from first place down to 4th. So it hasn't been an amazing start. We have avoided picking up. Yep, we did avoid the threats around us and managed to stay in one piece, which is a relief. But yeah, it does mean we have dropped 4 places down the order, so now we need to find some pace. And I know certainly Zero's quite quick, as he was in the last race, so are we going to have the pace to be able to catch them? And as you can see what I was saying there about the slipstream, you know, it's not fantastically powerful in this game, as the black mofo goes wide and we just managed almost follow him in that classic mistake. Although we have got a decent slingshot on the slipstream here, we've also got a better exit by the looks of things. So have we got enough in the car to get us in front? He's trying to break the slipstream. We are right up his gearbox. We put out to the left, get a wheel on the grass, and just have to slow it down and be a little bit more careful. We weren't really in a position to make a move once we'd done that, and we almost spin the car as we get a snap of oversteer, having put our wheel onto the curb. Yellow flags followed by green flags in behind us, and we chase down the man in 3rd place. Be nice to get a podium here as we take that chicane pretty well without getting the car too unsettled, and we dive in, and he's gone a little bit wide here, the black mofo. We're going to stay in behind him. We're getting closer. Of course, we don't have DRS just yet, but it won't be long, and he's gone terribly wide, and we have to swerve to avoid him as he comes back onto the track, and that has given us a little bit of breathing space in behind him, and we are now back up into 3rd place and amongst the podium positions. So at this point, I think it's going to be a case of trying to keep who we have behind us. I'm not quite sure we've got the pace to catch these 2 in front, as we get a warning for exceeding the track limits. It could be tricky. These 2 guys are pretty quick. I am already, you know, a good few seconds behind, and I've got a feeling that the black mofo is going to come back at me, and that could cause us some problems as well. So we take the second lap. And as Jeff kindly points out, DRS is now available, and I don't think we're going to be under too much pressure from the big black mofo into this first chicane. We're a little bit too far in front. He will want to start closing that gap in behind us though, so that he can get into a position to make a move. He hasn't really done so there. We get a decent exit as we take the long sweeping right hander post chicane into the next one, breaking the two up, and we get on the brakes just after the 100-meter board and swing it in and swing it right, and again getting a little bit too narrow that time as we get a warning for cutting the corner. But again, not unsettling the car too much or jumping about or losing too much time, which is probably the main thing through there. As long as you don't pick up too many warnings elsewhere, you can probably get away with that. And we come up the long middle straight. We jump ahead to lap 4 of 5, and as you can see, the black mofo is still putting the pressure on behind me, and he's got DRS, and as you can see as we look behind, he is closing up, but not close enough to make a move as we go into the S's. But you can see there's been a mistake there from Zero, and we have got a massive run on him now. We haven't got any ERS available. We are in rich mix. Can we get in front? No, we can't. We just have to settle in behind. Aware, however, that we are about to approach a DRS zone as Zero goes a little wide. We follow him, and the big black mofo has got a better exit than us and is making a move on Zero now. The two are wheel to wheel. We backed out, and the big black mofo has cut the corner there. It looks like in error. He hasn't been asked to hand the position back. I suppose he did have his nose in front when he went across the line. However, I'm a bit surprised that he wasn't told that he needed to hand that position back to Zero. But again, this does leave us back out of the podium places, which is not great news for us. So we are going to jump on the back of Zero and we start pushing forward. We will be within the DRS side as we take a little bit of an apprehensive turn into that right-hander and then down into the next one as Zero cuts the corner and he gets wide and he's wobbling all over the track, and we have to slow down to avoid him as he nearly, I should say, cuts us up into pieces. We just about managed to slam our foot on the brake, or well, our left index finger more to the point, and avoid him with the swerve as well. So that will give us that third place back that we were hoping for. It's probably what we deserved. It's where we've been for most of the race, as the big black mofo has built a lead over us and is now in second place, and we'll take that second place and we will come across the line in third. A good race, a lot of fun as we watch Treminator come through. He's on the DRS straight down the backside of the track, and you can see Stapo 74, the chap who just kamikazed and decided that he didn't bother wanting to take the first chicane and drove right across it, ended up with a DNF. Whether he wiped himself out or what happened, I'm not quite sure. He wasn't disqualified because it does tell you the difference. So a DNF is a crash or loss of connection or just jumping out of the game through rage quitting, and disqualification is what you get if you hit too many people, cut too many corners and just basically act like a cunt too much. And there is a nice patronising explanation of the difference between disqualification and a DNF for anybody that didn't know. Oh, and we get second place, which is a nice little treat. So obviously big black mofo, he doesn't look very fucking black to me, but anyway, he gets driver of the day, although it must have been him who was demoted a place as the winner takes a selfie for me to pick up that second spot, and we'll get confirmation of that in a second. In the race standings, he picked up too many penalties for probably cutting corners mainly. He didn't seem like a particularly aggressive driver in terms of going wheel to wheel, but certainly, you know, he must have cut corners, picked up a few warnings and ended up with a time penalty, which has kindly given us second place as we jump back up to a gold rating and drop down even further on the C rating. I can't understand that. I really am doing my best not to touch anybody on a racetrack, and occasionally, of course, now and then other people make contact with you. It's absolutely unavoidable. yeah, I'm still punished constantly. So we will try and get that up, but in the meantime, people, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope everybody's keeping well, and I hope you're all staying safe. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Highlights trailer out later. Take it easy, safe.